Hi everyone, I'm Claire.
And I'm Ben.
And we are your dental besties.
Making dentistry fun.
Trying to.
Hopefully.
Well, we must have done because we're on...
Season 2? I can't believe
God.
it.
How have we not been cancelled?
God, don't say that.
I've had so much good feedback. I am overwhelmed. I feel so overwhelmed.
The messages on Instagram, yeah, it's been very reassuring, I think.
It has. And I think people are getting from it what I really wanted them to get, and that is they're saying to me, I feel like I'm sat on the sofa with you, I'm answering the questions as you're saying it, and yeah, they feel like they're our dental besties. So we are achieving what we wanted to achieve.
Good, it's working well.
It's working well. So what have you been up to? Anything good?
I've done my Pilates exams.
How did that go? Oh my God, was it? Oh my God, you were so nervous.
Yeah, I was super nervous. It was really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard. I've got a newfound respect for Pilates instructors.
Yeah. Because you said it was borderline harder than hygiene exams, right?
Fully, it's harder than hygiene.
Was it?
100%, yeah. So the theory exam's 3 hours long, and they'll just ask you anything, fosses on bones that I've never heard of, and yeah, it was super difficult. And then the theory, you've got a body who you've never met before, so you literally they come in to the room and you're like, hello, the examiner's there, and then you've got to teach your repertoire, you've got to do postural analysis, and then they throw in exercises that you maybe not covered.
Right.
They might be like, can you demonstrate this? Or can you demonstrate this? It's all about breath patterns and stuff. Oh God, it was hard. It was awful.
That sounds literally awful. And you're being recorded. You said you were being recorded as well. Yeah. So you got that kind of...
Well, yeah.
No, that sounds awful.
It was hard.
But you passed?
Really hard. Don't know yet.
Oh, we haven't had the results? Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, that's exciting.
What about you?
So I recently went to a startup conference, the Startup in Dentistry. They did one a couple of years ago, and they did their second one this year. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I think there was only me and one other hygienist in the room, Pat, who was there. But he owns a clinic, so he's
Does he own a practice?
Yeah, so he's bought a couple of practices.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's doing amazing things. Yeah, 100%. I really enjoyed sort of catching up with him. I was like, wow, you are amazing. I was kind of there more to sort of see what startups have to contend with. I've been working with a few startups, and one of the things I sort of find with startups is that they sort of go in, especially in the hygiene department, with low prices. I just want to get the patients in. And I'm like, once you're there with those prices,
it's really difficult.
Yeah, the movement is really difficult. And then once I go in and start sort of getting them to appreciate and value what we're doing, and it's a health treatment, then they're like, oh, actually now I want to charge more. So I'm trying to get them to hit the ground running with the value first, rather than having to go in down the line and be like, Was
there any discussion about hygiene when they were talking about setting the practice up and fees and anything like that?
Not really. And this is what it was very much focused on startup and in obviously to dentists doing dental treatment in their sort of scope and what they're doing.
Fees and stuff.
No, I didn't hear much of a discussion about that. It was more kind of setting up in terms of, the companies that you need to use, like the CT scanners and the CQC inspections and stuff. So it was all really valuable stuff. But yeah, nothing much was mentioned in terms of the business of, hygiene. And so I was like, I'd love to go in there, maybe even next year. So I'm pitching myself to them right now and kind of show that department and the value of that department and how to effectively set up a hygiene department to hit the ground running and be ethically profitable, value it in the right way, the right investments.
If you've saved and worked hard and then got investors in a practice, I can understand why they want to go in low. They want high turnover, lots of patients to be attracted to come to the practice.
Yeah.
But we know 1 year, 2 year, 3 years down the line, it's not the right model.
Yeah. Well, the way that we work is every single person sees the hygienist. So if you've got 700 patients on your books, that's 700 patients moving through the hygiene department, but they don't think of it like that. They're sort of we won't get a hygienist initially straight away because we probably won't make them busy, but the way I like to work, the model I like to work to is they see the dentist or they see the hygienist. Everyone sees both, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because then the patients surely would just be like, well, why can't I just continue seeing you? If you've been doing it for the last year.
Yeah.
And because this person telling me I need to brush my teeth.
Yeah. And if they're sort of going, oh, I'll just do the hygiene stuff to begin with, it's going to be not to the extent we do it. And then the patient's going to see there's a difference between the two. So I want to go in and just try and make sure they're doing it right from the get-go. valuing it, doing it right from the get-go.
So if anyone's thinking about opening up a practice, then
Come
you
to
need
me.
to get Claire Berry in.
Link in bio.
She'll sort you out.
I'll sort you out. So let's do some funnies, because this is how I like to start. I absolutely love it. Honestly, I have been in stitches reading these. I've not told you about any because
No,
I'm like, I
know
need
nothing about
your
these.
reaction, like, without seeing it. So a lot of these were sexual innuendos.
Loads.
Yeah.
Absolutely loads.
So when I put out there, like, the funny things that a patient said, or a funny thing that you've said to a patient, there is a lot of naughty hygienists out there. And it made me realise that our industry, an innuendo is really easy to make in our job.
I think as well because we're all very like prim, proper, professional.
Yeah.
And when something like that happens,
yeah,
it's hilarious.
So let me start you off with a really funny one, which is definitely an innuendo, and everyone has done this. I think I've definitely done this. I'm just going to finish you off by hand.
That reminds me. When I was a nurse, I was working with a therapist, and a man comes in, and it said on his notes just to do a hand scale. So the therapist was like, have you just come in for a hand job today? Do you know when you die?
Oh my God.
I was like vibrating and laughing.
Yeah.
He was like, It was so funny.
Oh my God. It's just so easy to make that mistake, isn't it? So this next one is pretty naughty. I might even have to bleep something out because I don't know whether I can actually be allowed to say this. But when given a lower infiltration, the hygienist says, "I'm just going to come over your face right now, so you might want to close your eyes." The patient's response was, "At least buy me a drink first." You have to have the right patient who's going to find that funny. That is ridiculous. Oh, it's making me ugly laugh. I don't like this.
No. Tune in for YouTube.
Oh, dear me. Okay, everything feels bigger with you. These are literally all sexual. Everything feels bigger with your tongue, to which the patient replied, "I wish my wife thought that."
He's got a sense of humour.
Yeah. A long time ago, when taking an x-ray, a dentist said, "I'm just going to expose myself." There's many a dentist that's probably got into trouble for that.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
I say this all the time, and do you know what? I never realised that it could sound a bit naughty, because I literally say this to every patient, especially when I'm working on the lower right-hand side, lingually. I'll say, "Just let it go floppy." And obviously you mean in the tongue, but she's put, just let it go floppy. And she said she's also once asked when the patient's baby was due, and the patient wasn't pregnant. Devastating. Someone's actually said that to me once as well.
Did you have bread?
Why do I look bloated when I have bread?
I don't know.
No, so I just had Evan, but I'd had him prematurely. Obviously, I mean, this took a bit of a turn. I had him prematurely, and someone was like, "Oh my God, when are you due?" I'd had him 10 weeks previous.
In all fairness.
To be fair, like, he was 10 weeks early, so it should have been around that time. But I was like, "Oh my God, I had him 10 weeks ago."
Back to work after 10 weeks.
Well, that was outside of a work situation, but it is awful when someone says it and you're not, because then you're just like, "I've been working so hard over the last 10 weeks. I looked a lot more pregnant 10 weeks ago." But to say that to someone who wasn't pregnant at all.
That's really awful.
Yeah, I literally don't think I dare even mention it. You know, when a patient comes in, and they're like clearly pregnant, I'll just be like, "Any change to your medical history?" Because there's no way I'm going to say like, "Congratulations."
Congratulations. Like, I'm just fat.
No, I'm just fat. Let's see. Any more? Getting it wrong and saying, "I'm just going to put my tongue in your mouth to get the mirror out of the way."
What? Imagine being a patient lying back and being like...
Can you imagine like you lean in?
Yeah. We all do that though.
Well, I don't put my tongue in patients' mouths. Patient asked if I was the lady he saw last time. I couldn't remember and said, "I'm not sure. Let me take a look at your nuts."
Let me take a look at your nuts.
They were meant to say notes. Oh my God.
Oh God, that's hilarious.
Doing a dressing, I said, "Nothing works as well as Vaseline and a good finger." Okay, that person was just saying that because I think she means like hand scale.
Nothing works.
Hang on a second, let me think. Doing a dressing, and I said, "Nothing works as well as Vaseline and a good finger." Doing a dressing.
Doing a dressing?
Doing a dressing, and I said, "Nothing works as well as Vaseline and a finger."
Oh, like of a GI or something.
Patient told me that she was job hunting. I said at the end of the appointment, hopefully next time I see you, you'll be a working girl.
I said that at uni. Do you know, obviously at uni you get all your patients.
Yeah.
And there was a patient that I had, and she had loads of recession.
Yeah.
And she came in and I went, God, you're a bit of a scrubber, aren't you?
Oh, we had lots of that. Yeah. They're like offended. Yeah, I've definitely said that. Oh, you're a bit of a scrubber. But I think I've done it in a way where I was like intending to do it. But yeah, I think it's worse when you're sort of like, you're just like...
student, bright red.
Yeah, you are just a scrubber. I'm just reading it and laughing. Oh my God, I'm just going to sit on your tongue for a minute. And she meant... She meant with a mirror, as in like, I'm just going to use my mirror to push down on your tongue. I don't think I can like put these out on YouTube or... We can't put these on the podcast.
Have you ever said anything like that?
Have I ever said anything like that? I think I've said stuff like, I'm just going to put my, the hand job one I've definitely said. I've definitely said I'm going to do a hand job now, but I don't think I've like, some of these are like naughty. I've got some more. There's like, they're coming, they're coming fast. Patient said to me, I've been trying really hard since I last saw you. I replied, how hard? Hard enough to satisfy me? I wouldn't really know about that.
Oh my God.
Oh, this was good. The dental nurse will just suck that off for you.
Oh, the nurses.
Oh my goodness. With super floss, the stiff end will get you there. Literally all of these are sexual. I told a patient their bum might bleed when they use the incidental brushing. Instead of gums. Oh my God. The amount of times I've read my notes back, like from 3 months previous or 6 months, and you've made a typo and I've said bum instead of gum, or like, when you're just like, oh no, I've done it again. Bums are bleeding.
Bums are bleeding. You got bob.
Just say gingiva, Claire, you're a hygienist.
Bob and bums.
Bob and bums, yeah, bleeding Bob. Okay, I think we've got 2 more. Oh, 3 more. Okay, wow, there's a few more. We can maybe save some of these for next time. Had a male patient in the chair in his 20s and they were doing an anterior composite. My nurse says, would you like anything else? I said, yes, strip please. The patient said, what, now? Good job he had a sense of humour. When I was a student at uni, a female patient came in for RSD. I explained what we were doing and that we were doing one side of the mouth today with LA. She asked if LA was needed and if she had it, would it be okay for her to carry on with her job afterwards? Get that a lot, don't we? Like, can I do my job?
Got a meeting, whatever.
She proceeded to tell me that she's a sex worker. I went all quiet as I didn't know what to say or how to react. My classmate, who was chairside assisting me, says, oh, that must be rewarding. Me and the patient gave a look and was silent. And I whispered to my classmate, she said she's a sex worker, to which my classmate said, and she was all embarrassed. She says, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you said you were a social worker.
Oh, very different.
Very different. I don't know, maybe she finds it rewarding.
She might.
She probably might find it rewarding. I was explaining OHI on a Word document to a deaf and dumb patient, and when I typed, get your bristles right into your bum instead of gum. Oh my God. Oh dear.
To be a fly on the wall.
You what, sorry?
To be a fly on
to be a fly on the wall. Yeah, that's well done. Oh, that was good. I love those. They're my favourite ones. Hilarious. We got loads there. Loads of people responded with that.
I think it's because we've all done it before. So you relate to it.
Yeah. I'm surprised at how many came in that were sexual. Some of them that we couldn't make. I mean, some of them I'm sort of questioning whether we should have on the podcast or not. But do you know what? We're besties. Yeah, well, we're besties. Fine. We can say these things in front of our besties.
I want to read the other ones that don't make.
Yeah. The ones that didn't make the cut. Maybe we should do like a special edit. Yeah, an X-rated.
Tune in.
That's the next phase of things we're going to do. X-rated funnies. We just want to take a second to say thank you to our sponsors who want to show their support to hygienists and therapists by sponsoring this podcast.
So we've been super picky because we only want to work with brands that we endorse, use, recommend, and feel like you could benefit from knowing about. We do want to say a real big thank you to Scrubs, Boutique Whitening, Dr. Hef's Mints, and Oh My Gob.
Details for our sponsors can be found in the show notes.
And if you want to sponsor season 3, then get in touch.
On with the show. Funnies. So the topics we're going to talk about today is one that's quite, it fires you up, doesn't it? We're going to talk about plans.
Oh, yes.
Can't
Please.
stand. I get why we have them. I get why practice wants to have plans, because it's that regular monthly guaranteed income. And I'm guessing that obviously it's going to be good for business. I just don't think people are doing it right. Generalizing, obviously, but a lot of places aren't doing it right.
I think a lot of people that ask us to discuss this were dentists.
Oh, did you get a lot of dentists?
Yeah, a lot of dentists asked me to discuss it.
Yeah.
So we are bringing it to you.
We're bringing it to you.
I can understand. I can understand it from like different points of view. I think from a practice owner point of view, it's that steady income. You know what you're getting each month. You know what bills you can pay.
Yeah.
And obviously during COVID, I think it was a lifeline.
Lifeline, yeah.
But that's just shit. They're bad.
You're allowed to say shit. I've said tits before.
You're right. I think people think that that's all that they want.
Yeah.
And it's not what they need. And I think that's the problem.
I think the problem, it's exactly the same as you. Like, my bugbear is the fact that it's almost like patients are in control of the plan they choose. Like, it's like I could choose the level of my care, when actually I think a plan should be in place to, for what they need. So we do an assessment, we figure out what they need, and then we say to them, this is the plan you need to go on. And there's no kind of them picking and choosing, really, because otherwise they're just not getting the level of care they need. And then it's really hard, especially as hygienists, because we know they need more, because 9 times out of 10, they're picking a plan where they're seeing us once or twice a year and they're a BP4. Like, this happens all the time.
Because it's cheap and they just want, it's almost like they just want to say, I've done the hygienist twice a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then people change over time.
Yeah.
Like, we've got people that have been on plans for decades. Your mouth now isn't what your mouth was when you were 30.
100%. Yeah.
So and also, how can you change the plan so quickly? I think people get used to paying a set amount. So we had, is it like Demplan? Yeah, we had Demplan, where they pay a certain fee and then whatever's included in that, depending on the need.
Yeah.
Then we moved away from that, so they got like a maintenance plan where they get 2 hygiene, 2 exams, and then if they need anything else, they get like a discount on it.
Yeah. Which
I think is a bit better. It kind of spreads the cost, but a lot of patients just think, well, I'm getting 2, I'm just going to wait. And like, you might see them, I don't know, in January, you might think, okay, you need to come every 12 weeks, so I'll see you again in April. And then you tell them in April, I need to see you again. Do I have to pay? Yes, you have to pay. You do get a discount. Well, I'm just going to wait till January, till my next plan.
Yeah.
And you're like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. And do you know what my other bugbear is? When it's called gold, silver, platinum.
It's not a freaking car wash.
It's not a hairy monster.
It's not a hairy monster. It is really annoying. Or like diamond clean. And I'm like, why? Why do you need that?
Yeah. And if they're going to discount a treatment to make the monthly cost lower, they're always discounting the hygiene, which ultimately I think is the most important part of the plan, because we're there to try and prevent. Isn't the point of a plan to get you optimally healthy, maintain that optimal health in order for you to not need treatment? But yet they discount the bit that's valuable, which is the hygiene appointment. And then that devalues the whole thing that we're trying to achieve, and that's optimizing health. It's almost it makes it sound like that's just a cosmetic little thing. I think a lot of patients have it as well because they think it's cosmetic. Obviously, there's some that aren't. They're doing it because they know they need it. They need to be seen 4 times a year, whatever. But I mean, that also doesn't give us that ability to be able to say to a patient, do you know what, this implant's bleeding, I need to see you in a week's time, or, we can't afford to wait 3 months, we're going to have to change it. So what about those patients where you decide you want to see them every 8 weeks and not every 12? Then you're completely out of plan. But the plan's not,
It doesn't work. No, I don't really get it either.
Do you know what I try and bring into practices when I go in and work with them? So I'm working with a practice at the moment, and I was like, we need to do annual reassessments. So in order to go on a plan, there needs to be an assessment, and we're coming up with the criteria for that assessment. So it'll be like, if you've got too many ticks in the red zone, then you just simply cannot be on 1 time a year plan. Like, that just isn't the plan for you. So it's almost like a tangible bit of evidence to show that this is the plan we need to categorize and put you in. And then that assessment is done annually. So 1 year from today, we reassess that. Are you still in the right category? I think Demplan did something similar.
Who does the reassessment? The dentist?
So this is something we were talking about, because I suppose the dentist can, but the oral health expert, so hygienist, could be responsible for that, seeing as though we're the experts in oral health and we could be relied on to be like, right, today's your annual reassessment. I'm going to go in and if it is an exercise where we look at the risk factors, we look at the medical history, we look at, and we're sort of going down a tick box sheet and doing that, then we could do that. And then the dentist hasn't got that to do as well. We could put it as one of their appointments is a little bit of a reassessment.
It makes more sense for us to do it, surely. Because, like you said, risk factors we talk about. And then because the point of a plan, especially dent plan, is to almost predict what that patient might need, isn't it?
Yeah,
so they'll have exams, they'll have hygiene. And then if they've got loads of restorations, one may fail. So you have to include that time.
Yeah.
So you can kind of predict that.
Yeah. And I think because ultimately our appointments should be a little bit longer, we can maybe say this one's dedicated to doing your reassessment as well. But an annual reassessment's needed because then that allows us to keep people on the right plan, and they're aware at a reassessment things might change. So you've got diagnosed with diabetes during last year. Your risk factors are now much higher. So we need to put you on a 3-monthly. Your 6-monthly might not cut it. Do you know what I mean? So it's things like you say before, like you can't be on a plan for 20 years and it be the same. Things change. And ultimately as well, things might get better. And then you think, actually, I could afford to see you less next year. I don't know. Doesn't happen as often that way around.
I think from a patient point of view, private dentistry is expensive, isn't it? If someone said to me, you need a restoration, it's 450 quid. I'd be like, I don't know if I will wait. But so you can see why that there's a discount or there's that kind of encouragement to go because they're paying for it. Yeah. So it does work. I don't know if I hate plans, actually. I started off this conversation hating them.
This is what it's all about, is opening a conversation.
I hate them, or I just hate
how they're being run.
How it's being run. Yeah. It's almost a case of just get everyone on the plan as quickly as possible.
Before they've even seen the hygienist. Yeah.
Thinking, okay, if you want to go on the plan, these are our fees for a full assessment, like a dental assessment, a hygiene assessment. We'll be in touch. And you could even just write them an email. So then the dentist and the hygienist have collaborated, come together. They think that this would be the best plan for you. Yeah. This is the monthly outlay. This is what it'll include. Yeah. This will be reviewed annually. That's actually a much better way to do it.
I think so, 100%. Yeah, because it should be there to spread the cost, not because I see so many people, like you say, they're going for their first ever checkup at the practice. So it's a new practice, going for a checkup, and then they're sort of sold a plan straight away. They're on a plan, and they're on the plan before they've even seen the hygienist. They need blah, blah, blah fillings. And ultimately it means that they're getting the fillings for cheaper because they're getting like 10% off or whatever. But then I personally think we need optimization before implementation. So let's do those fillings first. Let's get you in with the oral health expert. Let's optimize your health. Let's get everything super healthy first. And then once you're on the plan is in place to maintain and prevent treatment in the future. I think that's the best way to run a plan. And then the assessment's done to make sure they're on the right plan for them, and that's reassessed every year. Instead of it being used as a way of like getting people on a plan, they get to choose. They're probably going to choose the cheapest one. That's not the right one for their needs. The hygienist gets to see them. Then they're banging their head against the wall because now they're trying to sell the patient. And it feels like, again, we're trying to get the patient.
It almost does the practice like a disservice, though.
Yeah, because you're almost losing.
A plan, and you've got 2 exams or checkups a year, 2 hygiene a year, and the patients are so adamant that because they're on a plan, that's all they want, and they need more. You're almost not allowing the hygienist to see them. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you say you needed 4 hygiene a year from the patient and they only want to come twice because they're on the plan, that's what they pay for. Yeah. The practice has lost 2 hygiene appointments in that year. Yeah. So things will get quieter. And I think that's a big problem. Are the diaries getting quiet? There are only infinite amount of, like, there's not masses amount of people. There's a limit wherever the practice is. Yeah. You can't expect like everyone to come every 6 months. Some people are going to need more. Like, that's how the diaries get filled. Yeah.
And when you look at the plans, it's not that much. So it's like when you see a steak in a restaurant and there's like the cheap steak, the really expensive steak, and then you've got, are you vegan?
No, I just don't eat cows.
Just specifically not cows?
Just not.
You eat pigs, but not cows.
Pigs are not cows. I was vegetarian for ages. Yeah. And then when I got COVID, the only thing I craved was a KFC.
Oh.
And then I had it. I was like, well, that was horrible, but now I'm not vegetarian anymore. So I've been non-vegetarian for like the last 3-4 years.
Okay. Just
but
not
when
cows.
I was little, do you know, like Mad cow disease.
Oh, is that what put you off cows?
Terrified.
Yeah, I must admit, there was like, they put the frighteners in. Yeah.
I've never ate a cow, so I've never had a steak.
I'm really like unsure as to why I was talking about steak now.
You went to a restaurant, you got steaks. Cheap steak, expensive steak.
Okay. Oh, no.
So you got word for it.
So you've got the cheap steak, you've got the really expensive steak. You're going to go for the middle of the lane steak because you don't want to like go, well, that's cheap and it's probably cheap for a reason, and that's like ridiculously expensive. So we're going to, and I think it's actually a ploy that restaurants use in order for people. They know people are going to go down the middle and use the middle steak. So it's like the plan. So when you've got the silver, the platinum, and then you've got the gold one. Pretty much, I would say, if you were to put a stat on it, I'd say like 80 to 90% of patients are going to go straight down the middle and be like, I'm going to go for the twice a year plan. And I think we just need to, and I think we assume that everyone's wanting to spend less money as well. So they're never going to go for the top of the range plan because that's 4 times a year. But I think we need to just basically give the benefit of the doubt. If we tell the patient their risk factors, we show them that we've done an assessment, we put them into a category, they will pay that because we're saying to them, you need this. I think we just automatically assume that they won't pay for that, so we'll just keep trying to push them into that middle.
I think also because dentistry is a bit weird in terms of healthcare. Like any other majority of health professions you go to when you like need them.
Yeah.
So like you go to the doctors when you're ill. Dentistry, because it's more preventative, patients just think it's like a tick box.
Yeah.
So, if I see the dentist every 6 months and the hygienist every 6 months, they'll be fine. Things
That's
might
enough.
Not deteriorate. Yeah, that's enough. It's like a box ticked.
It's better than some people.
Yeah, better than nothing.
Yeah.
And then it's not fully like taking ownership of the health.
That's true. And that's where we need to change that message on a practice level. Because it's not just good enough for the hygienist in the hygienist surgery to be saying that and trying to bat that, drum, because we're banging our head against a wall if it's not
it's changing an ethos, isn't it? It's changing the whole practice.
Changing a mindset of the practice. Yeah. So what I always say to practices is every single practice out there are doing composite bonding. Every single practice out there are doing implants now. It's like the 10 a penny. And then every single practice is Instagrammable if it's private, obviously. And what could be a USP? A USP could be a hygiene department is like a health department. We're optimizing health. We're focusing on the patient being generally optimally healthy as well as orally optimally healthy. God, that was a really hard sentence to say. And so that could be a really good USP. So changing the mindset on a practice level to be that way inclined as the ethos from the practice, I think would be a really good thing to market as well.
Yeah, because people want to know that they're healthy, don't they? And they don't go to the doctors, like I said. 1, they probably can't get an appointment. 2, it's only when they're really ill.
Yeah.
So if you go somewhere and you get your blood sugars checked, you get your blood pressure checked, kind of general systemic health screen.
Yeah.
Risk factors, you feel like you've been looked after.
Yeah. I think maybe we should be more preventative with our general healthcare as well. Like, it's making me think I need to maybe start looking at having blood tests and seeing what I'm deficient in. Maybe we should have annual screens for and that's where you could oh God, we're now.
It's that cost benefit though, isn't it? I think that it's a really good idea, and there are some countries where you can go for like a day and get scanned blood, urine, stool, all of that samples taken so they can find out things about you. Literally, that would be like my dream whole day.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
Just go and find everything out.
Find everything out and then do Pilates every night.
And then just do Pilates. But I think if they'd done that in the UK, obviously the NHS, it would cost an absolute bomb.
It would cost a bomb.
Risk benefit though, it's the majority, you would find some things that could be cured early. Yeah. But the majority of people would probably be okay. So that's why they do is it well man, well woman?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when you start going downhill. Well, not downhill. No offense to anyone that's starting to get them, but that's where the problems start to happen.
Yeah. I just think, it might be a big outlay, but do you think we'd end up eventually saving loads on the NHS because we're catching things before it ends up being a big...
Well, no, look at smear tests. Why isn't everyone screened for that early on? We know obviously HPV is increasing massively. We know it's linked to kind of cancers. So why aren't we screening? There are people dying of it because what's screening 26? Is it?
From 25? Do you mean? Yeah. And then it's every 3 years, every 5 years? God, I should know that being a woman. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's it should be, but it's not. But even if there was somewhere where you could go and get it done,
Yeah.
that's not unreasonable. Say it was like £25.
Yeah.
People would do it.
Yeah. Do you think we should be liaising with private GPs and private healthcare clinics where we go, okay, we're going to do a full assessment annually on the mouth, and then they're going to do a full assessment with blood tests and stuff like that, and actually say if you want to go and see them, they offer this service, and it's, you know.
I think certainly for the health conscious. I mean, I've worked in parts of London where I think
it's linked with a healthcare provider as well.
That would go down really well.
Yeah.
If I think about maybe home, probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very sort of, it's only specific.
It depends where you put. Like some people might not have a lot but want to invest a lot in the health.
Yeah.
Some people have a lot but don't want to invest in the health. You can't make them.
You can't make them. So we've decided we like plans, but only when plans are done
plan.
right. We like our plan.
So next on our business list is to create our own
plan.
dental plan.
Yeah. And I think we need to focus more on the health side, and it being it's there to improve health, maintain health, and not just give them a scale and polish every 6 months as a cosmetic.
Disease.
Yeah, prevent disease. It's not just a cosmetic scale and polish.
I hate that.
I think that's what a lot of patients are, having it for, isn't it?
Yeah, but again, it's the NHS. It was kind of drill and fill or pull it out.
Yeah.
And then dentistry's like evolved massively.
Yeah. We were very reactive for a long time, weren't we?
Yeah, like not that long ago.
I'm not being rude. I'm finding our agony aunt, agony uncle.
I was like, geez.
Like, God, she's
replying
bored.
to a message on the podcast, rude.
Okay, so let me pick an agony aunt, agony uncle.
I actually love these.
Do you like these?
These are my favourite.
I like these. Okay, let's go with this one. I've got a few. Does anybody else find our job incredibly boring?
What? Is that a full stop?
They've been qualified a long time.
Okay.
They've been qualified a long time. They've got good support. But they've reduced their hours to part-time, but they still find the job so boring. They're fully booked for up to 6 months. They're doing things in the practice like tooth whitening and things, and they're wondering if anyone else feels the same.
I'm assuming hygiene.
Yes, so it's hygiene only. And they feel like they're doing the same things over and over.
Do I find the job boring?
I think if I was in a 20-minute, 30-minute, like very fixed scale and polish mentality, so the practice would just like patient in, scale and polish out, patient in, scale and polish out, I think that could feel like Groundhog Day.
Boring or demoralising?
Maybe the terminology is maybe not quite right. I feel like it'd be, because you know so much about your job. You know what you can offer. You know all the different things that you can do and the conversations you want to have with the patients, but you just don't have the time to do it. Yeah, I think I would find it demoralising, and I probably would find it like Groundhog Day, in,
Do you
out,
think it's a bit
in,
of a
out.
gift? That if you find something boring, then you're obviously so good at it.
Yeah, well, that's another way to think about it. Maybe you need to challenge yourself in some way and find something that you can then sort of bring into your practice, maybe where you're like, it just adds a bit of variation. They're doing tooth whitening. They said they're doing tooth whitening, so that's a bit of variation. What about starting to bring in the systemic health? I think that's where I don't find my job boring, because I can talk about systemic health all day, and I think that's absolutely fascinating. And I do bring that into almost every appointment. Like, did you know? How interesting is this? I've just seen this on your medical history. Did you know this? Like, doing blood pressure checks. I think that's what gives me variation.
Find out what it is that they actually find boring. Is it the routine? Is it the routine of knowing that Monday to Wednesday you're going to be going to this practice? It's fully booked. I don't know. What is it? 6 months ahead?
Yeah, they're fully booked up to 6 months ahead.
Not necessarily light at the end of the tunnel, but if you've got perio patients, where are they going? Are they going to a specialist? Are you just doing PMPR?
Yeah.
Like day in, day out?
Yeah.
I think it is what you make it, to be honest. I think if all you cared about was going to work, getting your paycheck at the end of the month, which is fine, that would be like a dream to someone.
Yeah.
I think if you were wanting to include systemic health, you wanted to maybe be more autonomous, then that sounds like hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the type of person that you are, really, isn't it?
It's the type of person that you are, not the job.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So maybe that job isn't for you. You need to maybe go somewhere where for example, I'm helping a practice at the moment, working there, building up their hygiene department. And I've been so used to, for a very long time, treating sort of like maintenance patients, the patients that I see every 3 months, like they get to know you. There's not a lot to do. Like, I never got bored with it. It became easy. And sometimes it was like Groundhog Day because they book in 3 months. Sometimes I'd be like, I know I had this exact day with these exact patients 3 months ago. And it was great. I love my patients. They were fantastic. And it's fab you got them on maintenance and there's not a lot to do. That's the aim of our game.
Point, yeah.
That's the point. And then I go to this new practice and then every patient that comes through the door, because it's a brand spanking new practice, like they've just opened up as a squat. And every patient needs a lot of work. Every patient is like, it's been years since they've seen someone. It's like going back to square one in terms of like building them up. And I am actually enjoying speaking to them and having to talk about perio a lot more, and explaining disease and the need for like the treatment.
You forget that when you're in that position of seeing the maintenance. You forget actually what it's like to sell a treatment plan. You forget what it's like to check understanding, make sure you've got the full consent there.
Yeah.
Get your flip charts out or I don't know, videos on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
But you forget how to do all that. So it is good that you kind of go back and think, I have to relearn.
Yeah. And so maybe it's a matter of like, you've dropped your days, that's great. But what about, picking up days somewhere else where it is kind of like, you get to start something from scratch. Yeah. I mean, the practice I'm working at, they've given me like, the freedom to create something. And then what's going to happen down the line is we bring another hygienist in and then I'll mentor them to like hit the ground running. So it ends up being a little bit more like consultancy based. But yeah, it's really sort of given me another lease of life and it's been nice, even though I liked treating my maintenance patients. Yeah, and it gave a bit of variation.
There's a bigger issue there though. If you booked 6 months up ahead, then I'd be asking, like I said, where are these perio patients going? Because you're going to get them.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that all in the appointments if they're 30 minutes back to back.
Yeah.
So the other room is, okay, we'll get another hygienist, or if there's a surgery free, we're going to look for surgery space.
Yeah.
Get another hygienist in, start filtering out patients to the others, open your book up a bit, and then start treating perio. Yeah.
Yeah. And, or being like, I'm going to sort of focus on implants and another hygienist. Yeah, I think that could do it too, 100%. So I think if you feel like it's Groundhog Day, if you feel like it's boring, either find somewhere else that could maybe give you a little bit more.
Find a new challenge. Find a hobby.
Challenge,
if you're 5 days a week back to back, you're going to be knackered by the time you get to the weekend. So you're not going to do anything with your life other than like life jobs.
Yeah.
You know, take the kids somewhere or go shopping.
Yeah.
So
side hustle.
Yeah, side hustle.
Yeah.
You're just then in that cycle and you do start resenting the job.
Yep.
I think variation's key. I think because we've studied so hard to get to graduation.
Yep.
We graduate. I always say the first year to 18 months, you are in your own world. You're going to change the world. Everyone's going to be amazing at brushing the teeth because you've educated them so well. I think 18 months to 3 years, you are broken as a person because it's like a wild horse. Like you break down and you're like, this is my life now. I've chosen to do this. What have I done? And then I think after 3 years, you start picking back up again, thinking, okay, now I've got a bit more confidence. I've got the opportunity. I might go back and study. I might do some postgrad stuff. Yeah.
It's like evolutions. We've talked about this before, haven't we? So, I mean, I was talking about this yesterday. I was lecturing at the BSDHT study evening, and a girl came up to me and she was like saying about engaging patients and this, that, and the other. And she said she was newly qualified. And she was like, I just find like I'm banging my head against the wall sometimes. And I was like, this first 5 years of your career is the hard bit. Like you're putting the hard work in, you're learning from your mistakes, you're developing your spiels, you're, figuring out how things work. Then the next 5 years, you then hone in those skills. So you get the skills, you hone the skills, and then you figure out what kind of hygienist you want to be. So like, what bits do you like? What bits don't you like? And then the next sort of 5 years after that is when you can start actually sort of, creating your own career path and making sure it's what you want it to be.
And then 5 years after that is when your back's absolutely mashed up.
And then you have to go into podcasting.
Droopy shoulders.
And then you just like have hands like this.
Hands like pigeon's feet, I always say.
Yeah. I'm struggling a bit with my hand, I've done something here. And I don't know what I've done, but it's right inside this bit. And it's not carpal tunnel, it can't be, but you know, when it starts, when you work with your hands, it worries you when you can't. Like, so it's now when I write, I can feel it when I write.
If I'm doing anything, I'm always like, not the right hand. Like, fine if I chop a left finger off, but not my right hand.
Yeah. I can do without this one. This one I need.
Not the moneymaker.
Insure your right hand. Like J-Lo. J-Lo insured her bum, didn't she? Because that's what made her, I mean, this might be, it might not be true, but I heard that she like insured her yeah, because that's what made her like loads of money, like jiggling around. Yeah. So I think you can probably insure your hand.
How do you lose your bum?
I don't think you can, but you know, like if it's not nice enough to make her money anymore. I don't know. It was on like.
So if J-Lo eats McDonald's, she gets an insurance payout. I
don't know how it works. It was probably all hearsay. I'm sure I heard it somewhere. But no, I think you probably could insure your hand because it'd be like, I don't know. When I've got income protection, I've got broken bones policy. So if I break a bone, I get like $5,000 for it.
Do you? Are you never tempted? Day off, take the mallet out.
Do you know what? Need a bit of money this month. I mean, the reason I did it is because I took out my income protection and then about literally 4 months after I did that or something, not long after, and I'd said no to broken bones policy, I then ended up breaking my ankle and my insurance lady was like, yeah, you'd have got to pay out for that. And I was like, damn it. So I decided to have it after that.
There's things that I really want to do. Like I used to ski quite a lot and then I had like quite a big skiing accident and smashed my shoulder up.
Yeah.
And then I've been skiing since then, but since I graduated, I've not. And I'm tempted to do it.
Yeah.
Next time.
I like skiing. Skiing's good. But yeah, very dangerous.
It's dangerous.
I don't think you can just get broken bones policies and then say I was in a skiing accident because they'll probably be like, you put yourself in that position.
Can't really teach Pilates. Well, the thing is, I teach Pilates, so I can't really teach Pilates with 2 broken legs.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't go skiing. No, too dangerous. Oh, well, that's been great coming back for season 2.
I know.
I missed it. So, yeah, that's all done and dusted for today, I think. And we'll move on to the next episode.
Woohoo!
If you enjoyed today's episode, do like, share and comment. It means a lot to us. And make sure you comment and tell us what you want us to talk about because it means that we can bring content to you that you actually... And we actually have had loads more people actually say to us, we want you to talk about this, we want you to talk about that.
But loads of private messages saying how great it is, but...
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Share. Tell your other besties.
Yeah.
We're your besties. Tell your other besties. Bye, guys.
Bye.